Hello, everybody. This is JJ Hardy with Victory Leadership Coaching with Hannah. We're doing our Friday leadership training. Today, I wanted to go back to the basics a little bit, and I want to talk about a little bit about why leadership is so important. We'll talk about, the difference between being in a leadership position and being a leader. Obviously, well, not obviously. I am finding more and more and more that people don't understand that it's not the same thing. So, a refresher once in a while. I don't think I've done this topic for a long time. I think it's important to just go back to the basics once in a while. Interesting things coming up. I want more people to join this call. I know for a fact, because I watched my impressions, especially on LinkedIn, and you're watching it. If you want to be here, let me know. We can have a high-level conversation. Hopefully my dogs don't bark while we're doing this. So leadership. I define leadership as providing purpose, direction, and motivation while operating to accomplish the mission and improve the organization. That's straight out of ADP 6-22. That's an Army manual. And I use that because it's like my persona. I retired from the U.S. Army, and I believe in it. And I know that this is the formula to success because I have seen it in organizations, and I've test drove it outside of the military. And I noticed that a lot of people aren't being trained in the basics of leadership. I have a course on it. I've invested a lot of my time, effort, and energy into making sure people like Hannah are super successful. And you know what? She has just taken everything that she's learned in the course and run with it. You're on leaderboards everywhere. You're on the Jumbotron at conventions and everything else. I'm just so proud of you. So, why is that definition that I read so important? Well, purpose. People have to know their why. If you're going to start a business, you have to know your why. If you're bringing somebody new into an organization, they have to know why they're there, not what their job is, but why they are there. This is your job, and this is what it does. This is why it's important to the company. Direction. Well, obviously, people have to know what they got to do in order to accomplish their job. So that's what that is. And the motivation, it's probably the most important part, is that people need to understand that they are cared for. This even works at home, people. If you're struggling in your family, I'm not a therapist. Lord knows I could use a lot of work in my household too. I'm always in trouble with my wife. But at the end of the day, when you're setting expectations with your kids, you're letting them know why things are important, and you care for them, and you're there for them in organization. So this is just life stuff. When you care about people, they're going to care back. Not all of them, but I would say that generally speaking, people care about those people that care about them. Yes, I think I said that right. Okay. Now, a lot of people think that, yay, I've gotten promoted. Now I'm a leader. Well, I call BS on that. That's not true. You've just been promoted to a new job. That is a management position, though it's oftentimes called a leadership position. In order to excel and lead the people that you're given as a result of that promotion, you have to create influence. How do you do that? You have to receive training. You have to know what to do to create influence, because if you don't know, well, then you're going to be shooting from the hip, and you can still learn that way. You can learn through on-the-job experience. It just takes so long, and sometimes you learn bad habits. Sometimes you go off in a different direction and you do things the way that the other leaders in your organization are doing things, or managers, directors, VPs, maybe it's a CEO. And if they are toxic and you're following their example, monkey see, monkey do. I mean, we're humans, but we're, those are our ancestors, right? So I'll use that analogy. Then if we're doing the same thing that we see, then we could be doing the wrong thing and not even know it. Mm-hmm. When you follow yourself down a path, when you lead yourself down a path, you got to make sure it's the right one. Andy Stanley said, he's a preacher out there. If you haven't heard of him, look him up. He's wonderful. He has nice things to say. Don't care if you believe in God or not. He's just a good guy. He said the difference between right and wrong is which direction that you take. If you want to be informed and do the right thing, you have to know what the right thing is to do. Because once you go off in that direction, whether it's right or wrong, you could say right or left, chances are you're going to keep taking those turns, whichever direction that is, until you understand what the proper way to do things is or the right answer is. It's a spiraling effect, and it happens each direction, right or wrong. Leadership works the same way. If you do the wrong thing and you keep on, making the same mistakes over and over and over again, or you learn the wrong way and you follow a path of somebody else, but they're not doing it the right way, you're going to keep on getting worse and worse and worse at it. And then you're going to be looked at as that toxic person. You might even end up losing your job later on. Mm-hmm. You don't want to do that. So just learn the right way the first time. That's all I got to say about that. I can't give away all the goodies. That's what my course is for. But Anna, what do you think about that?
Well, so I mean, you said you can't give away everything, but I have taken your course, well, most of it. But for the listeners or whatever, what is different about your program? I mean, people, they do have leadership that they can follow at their job or whatever, but what sets yours apart?
Didn't start off this way, but I'm glad you asked that. So the thing that sets my course apart is that I focus heavily on implementation. So you'll take my course, hopefully at your organization with a bunch of your other managers, and I'll give you one module to do. There are 5 modules in the course, which means there are 6 weeks of training because I have to introduce you to it in the beginning. But I tell you what to expect, how to use the platform, and every week as you take that module, I know it's there. I made it. So we talk about those things. I engage you. And if you're there with your other managers, or if maybe it's a platform like yours, Hannah, where you have a bunch of other leaders that are their own business owners that you get with, mm-hmm. We talk about those things. But more importantly, I get the people that are taking the course to talk about those things. And in a very strategic way, it does 2 things. You learn the principles of leadership together, but what it also does, if you don't do it very often, is it brings the team together. It generates discussion that may not already be there. If you don't understand how to collaborate, a little bit of that is developed during the time that you're taking my course. And so it's very important to understand that a lot of these other leadership people that are out there, they'll have a course and they'll say, you spend 5 days with me, or you spend 1 day with me, or whatever the case may be. And you get really excited when they're teaching you. But after that block of instruction is over, that excitement lasts. Maybe it's a couple days, maybe it's a couple of months, and you start getting the juices flowing and you want to develop these wonderful things. But then the excitement goes away. You get back to work. Mm-hmm. I force it over a 6-week period, because if you're taking the time to do a little bit every week, and then you're discussing how it affects you in your business or in your work environment, you're actually gonna implement these things, because we are going to talk about it every week regardless. Mm-hmm. So that's what makes mine different. Yeah. It's not a set and forget. It's you take my course, you learn it, you apply it, and hopefully you don't move on without the things that you applied sticking.
Yeah, I like that. Thanks.
Sure. And that's an adaptation that is not what it was when you originally mm-hmm. started my course. But I have learned that that's what people want and need.
That's great.
Yeah, it's fun too. I go to
Good.
learn about people. Well, I like ish people. I do. To a certain extent. You know, I can't love everyone, but I definitely enjoy helping people with this sort of thing because I believe that work environments everywhere should, if you spend 90% of your life in a work environment, that it should be a
Mhm.
place that's not terrible. And you can't have an environment like that without the managers in the organization being on board and treating people well. So I help the people that make up the foundation of a company. That way, the people that are out there executing everything and not the ones that are managing it, but the executors are hopefully getting a better environment as a result of the training.
That's awesome.
Yes. Yes. Cool. What else? That's it. Do you have any questions, or is there anything that I mentioned that you want to talk about?
I don't think so.
No, I know we've done this call before, so
We have.
it's a little bit different now, but it's the same stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. All I can say about that is that if you're listening to this and it resonates with you, I feel like a broken record because I say it over and over and over again. Make sure you share it with other people. If it's on YouTube, you like and subscribe. If it's on any other social media platform, you like it, you share it, you comment on it, because the comments are what build conversation. And honestly speaking, if the problems can get solved in a room without me, or maybe me making the additional comment after I just put the idea in your head, I feel like I'm doing my job a little bit better as a result. And maybe we can work together. Maybe you can figure it out on your own. I like to teach people to fish. I don't like to pry myself into their life if they don't need me. So yeah, otherwise repost it to your audience. Maybe somebody there will be benefited by this sort of thing. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for tuning in today, Hannah. I appreciate you being here. We'll do a topic next time that's a little bit more engaging that we haven't done before. I just working with some people now that I think that now that they're part of my audience, they needed to hear it because it's not being applied. So, and they don't understand necessarily the difference, and they needed to hear it again. I hope everybody has a great weekend, and we'll talk again soon.